In the deep silence of space, far from the Astra colony, a fleet of steel giants moved through the void. 15 human warships, led by the massive flagship Thunder, drifted through hyperspace. On the bridge stood Admiral Marcus, a man who had seen too many battles, yet carried the calm of a leader who never feared the dark. The hum of the engines was steady, the lights dim, and the crew silent, until a voice broke through the calm. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Reed from the communications desk. "We're picking up a signal, on the old frequency." Marcus frowned. That frequency had not been used for over 200 years, not since the humans were banned from galactic communication. "Play it," he said. A faint, trembling voice filled the bridge. "To any human ships, this is the Astra colony in Sector 7B9. We are under attack. We have no weapons. We have children. Please help us." The voice cracked with fear. The message ended in silence. For a moment, no one spoke. The weight of those words hung heavy in the air. Lieutenant Reed's eyes lifted from her console. "Sir, the signal's location matches Astra space. Scanners confirm multiple warships converging on the colony." Marcus turned to the ship's AI, a glowing blue hologram known as Atlas. "Identify those ships," Marcus ordered. Atlas blinked once. "Confirmed." The attackers matched the pattern of the Dark Swarm. 27 vessels. Estimated time to impact, 4 to 7 hours. A low murmur filled the bridge. Everyone had heard of the Dark Swarm: pirates, raiders, destroyers of entire civilizations. They took everything: resources, lives, and hope. Lieutenant Reed looked up again. "Sir, if we respond, we'll be breaking council law. Astra space is off limits." "The treaties." Marcus raised a hand. "Treaties mean nothing to the dead, Lieutenant." He turned to the viewport, staring at the streaks of light rushing past as they traveled through hyperspace. For a long moment, he said nothing. The crew waited. Finally, he spoke, calm, but sharp as steel. "Atlas. How long if we change course and intercept?" 38 hours, Admiral," replied the AI. "If we push the engines to maximum." A pause. "Then, do it." The crew exchanged nervous looks. One officer whispered, "We could be punished for this. Even court-martialed." Marcus didn't turn around. His voice was quiet, but every soul on that bridge heard the fire in it. 200 years ago, humanity was called dangerous. Unpredictable. Too violent to be trusted. Maybe they were right. But one thing is certain, we don't ignore a cry for help. He turned, his eyes cold and bright. "We are Deathworlders. We survive hell. And we protect those who can't." Lieutenant Reed's lips curved into a small, proud smile. "Understood, sir." Marcus nodded. "Send a message to the Astra colony. Tell them, help is coming." As the words left his mouth, Thunder's engines roared to life. The ship trembled as power surged through it. One by one, the human warships turned, forming a spearhead formation, their destination locked. Narrator. Back on the Astra colony, Blue Song stood in the observation dome, watching the stars. Hours had passed since the signal was sent. No reply. No sign. Only silence. Crystal Hum approached quietly. His body glowed with faint blue light. "Elder, maybe they won't come." Blue Song didn't answer at first. He stared into the darkness, thinking of the children, of the people who trusted him to protect them. "They will come," he finally said. "The stories say humans never abandon those who ask for help." But even as he said it, a shadow of doubt flickered inside him. Then, suddenly, the air filled with static. Every screen in the control room flashed to life. A new signal appeared. "This is Admiral Marcus of the Earth Fleet. Astra Colony, we have received your call. Hold your ground. Help is on the way." For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then the room exploded with light, Astra bodies glowing bright with hope. "They answered," Crystal Hum whispered, disbelief in his voice. "They actually answered." Blue Song's body pulsed with pure light. "Prepare the colony. Reinforce the shelters. Tell our people, the humans are coming." Narrator, with rising music. Far away, inside the human flagship, Marcus stood before the star map. The red icon of the Astra colony blinked faintly, surrounded by 27 dark enemy ships. The countdown had already begun. Atlas's holographic form appeared beside him. "Admiral, even at top speed, we have a 9% chance of arriving before the Dark Swarm attacks." Marcus gave a small grin. "Then we'll just have to be fast." He turned toward his crew. All hands, battle stations. Load weapons. Prepare shields. Today, we remind the galaxy why they fear the Deathworlders. The bridge lights shifted to red. The engines roared. The Thunder and its fleet lunged through hyperspace, faster and faster, as if anger itself powered their engines. The stars outside blurred into streaks of white. The human fleet raced against time, and against death. Narrator, closing moment. Back on the Astra colony, Blue Song watched the stars from his window once more. He could almost feel the faint pulse of the universe, and somewhere, far away, something powerful was coming closer. He whispered to himself. Let the galaxy fear them if it must. Tonight, they are our only hope. The camera pans out, the shining colony surrounded by the darkness of space, while in the distance, faint glimmers of approaching ships flash like lightning in the void. Music swells. Fade to black. Far from the Astra colony, beyond the quiet glow of their dying sun, the endless void of space shimmered with streaks of blue light. Through that silence drifted a fleet of giants, steel monsters born from a world that refused to die. 15 human warships, led by the flagship Thunder, cut through hyperspace. Their engines hummed with deep, steady power, the kind that came from centuries of survival, struggle, and war. At the heart of the command deck stood Admiral Marcus, a man built from discipline and hard choices. His uniform was simple, his expression calm, but behind his eyes burned a sharpness only seen in those who had faced death too many times and refused to bow to it. The signal. The bridge of Thunder was quiet, the soft hum of consoles, the faint beeps of sensors, until a single sharp tone broke the calm. Admiral, said Lieutenant Reed, turning from the communications console. We're receiving a signal, on the old emergency frequency. Marcus lifted an eyebrow. That frequency hasn't been active in over 2 centuries. Who could be using it? Reed adjusted the controls, her eyes wide. Sir, it's alien. Not from any human system. Marcus frowned. Play it. A faint, trembling voice filled the command deck. The translation software converted the words instantly, a soft, almost musical tone that carried desperation and fear. To any human ships, this is the Astra colony in Sector 7B9. We are under attack. We have no weapons. We have children. Please help us. Please. The voice faded into static. Silence filled the bridge. No one moved. Even the hum of the engine seemed quieter now. Lieutenant Reed slowly turned toward the Admiral. Sir? The transmission matches the Astra species. Scanners show activity in that sector. Multiple unidentified warships approaching the colony. Marcus looked toward the holographic display in front of him. A small blue light blinked in the darkness. The Astra colony, surrounded by 27 red dots closing in like hungry predators. Atlas, Marcus said, calling to the ship's AI. A soft blue hologram appeared beside him, the face of a calm, ageless machine. Identify those ships, Marcus ordered. The AI paused for a moment as streams of data ran across its projection. Then it spoke. Confirmed. The approaching vessels matched Dark Swarm energy signatures. Composition: heavy raiders, assault frigates, 2 capital ships. Estimated time to impact: 47 hours. Reed's voice wavered slightly. Sir, the Dark Swarm has wiped out entire species. They leave nothing alive. Marcus's jaw tightened. And the nearest Council fleet? 3 weeks away at best speed, Atlas replied. The Admiral exhaled slowly. Then we're the only ones close enough to respond. The forbidden decision. Reed hesitated. Sir, the Galactic Council's treaties are clear. Astra territory is restricted. If we cross that line, we'll be breaking 6 major interstellar laws. Marcus turned to face her, his expression unreadable. Tell me, Lieutenant, how long have you served under me? 7 years, sir. In those 7 years, how many times have you seen me ignore a distress call? Reed blinked. Never, sir. Then why would I start now? He stepped closer to the viewport, watching the streaks of hyperspace blur like rivers of light. 200 years ago, the Council called us dangerous. Too violent. Too unpredictable. They feared us because we came from a world that tried to kill us every single day. A world that made us strong. He turned, his gaze sweeping across the bridge crew. But there's something the Council never understood. We don't fight because we love war. We fight because someone has to. A heavy silence followed his words. Every officer on the bridge stood a little straighter. Marcus spoke again, quieter now, but firm. Atlas. Plot an intercept course to Astra space. Maximum acceleration. The AI hesitated. Admiral, if we alter course, we'll exceed safe engine limits. There's a 9% chance of structural damage. Marcus smiled faintly. Then it's a good thing we built these ships on a death world. The crew chuckled softly, nervous but proud. The engines ignite. Lieutenant Reed, Marcus said. Send a message to the Astra colony. Yes, sir. What should I tell them? He looked out into the void. Tell them, help is coming. Reed smiled as she transmitted the message. Atlas, Marcus added, inform Earth Command that we are responding under Article 7, Emergency Humanitarian Protocol. The AI's voice was calm but curious. Admiral, that law predates space travel. It refers to Earth's ancient maritime rule, no ship may ignore a distress call at sea. Marcus's eyes glinted. Then it still applies. Space is just a bigger ocean. Within seconds, the Thunder's engines roared to life. The deck vibrated as the massive ship turned sharply, its escort fleet following in perfect formation. 15 ships, carriers, destroyers, and cruisers, forming a wall of human steel. The lights dimmed red. Battle alarms sounded. Every corridor echoed with motion. Engineers running, pilots preparing, gunners checking weapon systems. In the distance, hyperspace rippled like liquid fire as the fleet accelerated. Meanwhile, on Astra, the Astra colony sat under a growing shadow. Every hour, the dark swarm ships grew larger in their skies. Inside the control room, Elder Blue Song stood before the wide observation window, his crystalline body pulsing faintly. No message. No sign. Just the cold silence of the stars. Crystal Hum entered quietly. His young voice trembled. Elder, it's been hours. Maybe they didn't hear us. Blue Song didn't move. They heard. They always hear. But will they come? The young one whispered. The humans are dangerous. What if they come, not to save us but to finish what the swarm began? Blue Song turned slowly. The stories say humans are dangerous, yes. But they also say humans fight for something greater, they fight to protect. His light dimmed slightly, their version of a sigh. Right now, I would rather trust danger than face certain death. He turned back to the window. Prepare the shelters. We will hope. Hope arrives. Hours later, when despair had begun to settle, every screen in the control room flickered. Static filled the air, then a voice. This is Admiral Marcus of the Earth Fleet. Astra Colony, we have received your distress signal. Hold your ground. Help is on the way. The room erupted in glowing colors, Astra bodies brightening with joy and disbelief. Crystal Hum shouted, they answered. The humans answered. Blue Song's entire form pulsed with light. Then prepare the colony. Reinforce everything. The Deathworlders are coming. The human fleet accelerates. Back aboard the Thunder, Admiral Marcus stood on the bridge as the star map updated in real time. The Astra colony blinked in blue, surrounded by the swarm's crimson ships. A thin white line marked the human fleet's trajectory, racing through the void toward the coming storm. Atlas's holographic eyes flickered. Admiral, based on current velocity, we will arrive 9 hours before the swarm reaches the colony, if we maintain maximum output. Marcus nodded. Push it harder. I want 7. The Astra colony floated in uneasy silence. Above the glittering domes, the night sky no longer looked peaceful. It pulsed with warning lights and long trails of enemy movement. The dark swarm had arrived at the edge of the system. 4 hours, the miners and families had watched from the surface as distant stars blinked out one by one. Now, even those faint lights had vanished behind a wall of approaching ships. In the main control room, Elder Blue Song stood before the window, his crystalline body glowing a pale gray, the color of fear among the Astra. Beside him, young Crystal Hum checked the scanners again and again, hoping for a miracle. 27 enemy vessels confirmed, Elder, he said quietly. They'll enter orbit in less than 4 hours. Blue Song nodded slowly. And the humans? Crystal Hum hesitated. Still nothing on long-range sensors. If they are coming, they are too far to see. A silence fell. The colony's soft machines hummed like whispers in a tomb. Every Astra in the room understood what that silence meant, that they were alone. The dark swarm. The first shadow passed across the colony when the lead swarm ship slid from hyperspace. It was enormous, black metal shaped like a blade, its surface crawling with strange energy patterns. Behind it came the rest of the fleet, 26 more ships spreading out like a net around the planet. To the Astra, it was like watching a storm of death spread across the sky. Crystal Hum's voice shook. They are scanning the colony, Elder. I think they're locking targets. Blue Song straightened. His voice was calm but heavy. Activate all shields. Get everyone to the shelters. Whatever happens, we hold. All across the colony, alarm sirens echoed. Families ran through the glowing corridors, clutching children and precious supplies. The transparent crystal walls vibrated as the shield generators powered up, casting a blue light over the domes. From orbit, the dark swarm moved into attack position. Their weapons charged, streams of red energy lighting the void. Blue Song closed his eyes. So this is how it ends, he whispered. A flicker in the stars. Just as the first swarm ship opened fire, something changed. A deep vibration filled the air, not from the colony but from above. Every sensor suddenly screamed with new readings. On the main screen, the blackness of space rippled, and light burst through. 1, 2, then 15 massive ships tore out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Each was covered in heavy armor and glowing thrusters that burned like suns. Their arrival sent shock waves of energy across the system. Crystal Hum gasped, his voice breaking. Elder. New contacts. They're human. Blue Song's body blazed bright with light. By the stars, they came. First contact. On the bridge of the human flagship Thunder, Admiral Marcus stood tall as the fleet exited hyperspace. Before him, the holographic display filled with enemy signals. Red icons surrounding the small blue dot of the Astra colony. Status report. Marcus barked. Lieutenant Reed replied instantly. All ships accounted for. Shield stable. Weapons online. Enemy fleet in attack formation. Atlas, the ship's AI, appeared beside them, calm as ever. Admiral, the dark swarm has begun firing on the colony. Surface shields are holding, but not for long. Marcus's jaw tightened. Not on my watch. Target the lead swarm ship. All forward batteries, fire. The Thunder's cannons blazed. Beams of blue-white plasma shot through space and smashed into the nearest swarm cruiser. The alien ship exploded in a flash of red fire, debris scattering like burning glass. The human fleet followed, each ship unleashing precise, devastating fire. Within seconds, the void turned into chaos, light and darkness colliding, the silent ballet of war. The wrath of humanity. The Astra colony watched in awe as the humans attacked. To them, it was like watching gods descend from the heavens. The Deathworlders fought with terrifying speed, not random violence but disciplined fury. Admiral Marcus moved across the bridge, voice calm, eyes sharp. Maintain formation Delta 7. Focus fire on their capital ships. Don't give them time to regroup. Atlas reported, enemy vessels are adjusting tactics. They're attempting to flank. Marcus smiled faintly. Let them try. He tapped his console, and the Thunder spun with impossible precision. Missiles launched in perfect timing, intercepting the swarm's flanking ships before they could even fire. Each human vessel fought like a living beast, fast, focused, unstoppable. Lieutenant Reed whispered, half in disbelief, "Sir, the swarm is falling back." Marcus's reply was cold and steady. "No, they're running. But we're not done yet." The colony below. In the control room, Blue Song and his people watched the sky light up with explosions. Every detonation reflected off their crystalline walls, painting the colony in shades of red and blue. For the first time in their lives, the Astra felt hope instead of fear. Children pointed to the sky, cheering. Elders wept silently. Crystal Hum turned to Blue Song. "Elder, look. The humans are pushing them back." Blue Song nodded slowly. "Yes. But do not forget, battles are not won until the last enemy falls." Inside the storm. Up in orbit, the swarm tried to regroup. Their commander, a dark creature hidden behind layers of armor, hissed orders through static-filled comms. The swarm had never lost a battle before. They didn't understand what they were facing. The humans didn't give them time to learn. The Thunder's forward guns roared again, followed by the heavy cruisers Vigilant, Iron Star, and Nemesis. Each blast tore through enemy shields like paper. Within minutes, 10 swarm ships were gone. 5 more were burning, leaking metal and fire into the void. "Status?" Marcus asked. "Minor shield fluctuations," Atlas replied. "Enemy forces reduced by 65%. Marcus's voice hardened. "Then finish the job." The humans pressed the attack. Fighter wings launched, small, fast ships darting through debris hitting weak spots the big guns missed. The void filled with light, like 1,000 thunderstorms breaking at once. For every human shot, another swarm ship fell. The turning point. But victory never comes without risk. 2 swarm cruisers turned and fired simultaneously, their beams cutting across the fleet. One human destroyer, Valiant, took the hit head-on. The ship shook violently, fire bursting from its side. Inside Thunder, alarms blared. Admiral Valiant is hit. Reactor breach in progress. Marcus slammed his fist on the console. Evacuation pods? Launching now, sir. On the screen, small escape pods ejected from the wounded ship, streaking toward the colony's orbit. The Valiant exploded seconds later, a silent burst of light. Marcus bowed his head for a moment. Then his voice turned sharp again. For the Valiant. Fire everything we've got. The sky above Astra was quiet now. The fires of battle had faded, leaving only drifting embers in the void. The humans had come, and they had saved the colony from certain death. But peace after war is never simple. Because sometimes, survival itself becomes a weapon. After the battle. For 3 days, the humans stayed in orbit above Astra, helping rebuild the shattered colony. Human engineers worked beside Astra workers, repairing shields and restoring power. The once broken domes now shone brighter than ever, a symbol of hope across the stars. Elder Blue Song often stood beside Admiral Marcus, watching the human ships move like silent guardians above. You rebuilt more in 3 days than the Council did for us in 10 years, Blue Song said softly. Marcus smiled faintly. We build fast. We fight faster. Blue Song studied him for a long moment. You risked everything to help us. Why? Marcus looked up at the stars. Because once long ago we called for help too. No one came. We swore never to let that happen to anyone else. Blue Song's body glowed a soft blue, the Astra color for respect. Then the legends were true. Humans are dangerous, but not cruel. Marcus chuckled. Danger is only a matter of perspective, Elder. The Council reacts. Far away in the shining towers of the Galactic Council, chaos was unfolding. In the Great Chamber, hundreds of alien diplomats shouted across the room, their voices clashing in panic. News of the Astra incident had spread like wildfire. The humans had broken their centuries-old exile and annihilated an entire swarm fleet. The Council Chancellor, a tall being of silver tendrils, slammed his staff on the floor. Order. This meeting will come to order. The noise slowly died down. Reports confirm, said a council officer. The Earth fleet entered restricted space, engaged the dark swarm, and destroyed them completely. A wave of murmurs swept through the room. Some voices were fearful, others angry. This is an outrage, shouted one ambassador. The Deathworlders were banished. Their presence is illegal. Illegal? Another voice boomed. They saved a council colony. Where were we when Astra cried for help? The Chancellor raised a trembling hand. Do not be blinded by sentiment. Humanity has always been a threat. If they have rebuilt their fleets, the balance of power is broken. Silence fell. Every alien in the chamber could feel the truth in those words. For centuries they had believed humanity gone, lost, scattered, dangerous myths. Now those myths had returned, stronger than before. Back on Astra. Meanwhile, on the surface, the humans and Astra worked side by side under the bright alien sun. Children followed human soldiers curiously, fascinated by their armor and laughter. For the first time, the Astra truly saw the humans, not as monsters but as protectors. In a small open plaza, Admiral Marcus met with Elder Blue Song once more. Around them, both species stood together, listening. Blue Song spoke first. Admiral, the Council will not forgive this. You broke their laws to save us. Marcus crossed his arms. Then the law is wrong. They will call it rebellion, Blue Song warned. They can call it whatever they like, Marcus replied. We call it doing what's right. A murmur of approval rippled through the crowd. Even the Astra soldiers, unarmed and peaceful by nature, seemed to glow brighter. Blue Song tilted his head. The galaxy will fear you again. Marcus's gaze hardened. Then maybe the galaxy needs to remember what fear feels like, not to rule by it but to stop the ones who do. He looked up at the human ships glinting above. We're not the monsters they think we are, Elder. But we're still the ones they'll send when monsters come calling. The message. Later that night, Marcus stood alone in the command room aboard the Thunder. The stars stretched endlessly before him, cold and distant. Atlas, the AI, appeared beside him, calm blue light shimmering. You know the Council will respond, Atlas said quietly. They will send envoys, or fleets. Marcus nodded. I know. That's why we'll send our own message first. He stepped to the communications terminal. The screen blinked to life, ready to transmit across the galactic network. This is Admiral Marcus of the Earth Fleet, he began. To all members of the Galactic Council, and to every world that can hear this. His voice was steady, powerful. We are humans, Deathworlders. You called us dangerous and you were right. We are dangerous, to those who prey on the weak, who kill the innocent, who hide behind rules while others bleed. The Astra colony called for help. No one answered. We did. We will answer again, whenever and wherever it's needed. He paused, then leaned closer. We don't seek war. But if war finds us, it will regret the day it did. Remember this, humanity remembers its friends. And it never forgets its enemies. He ended the transmission. For a long moment, only the hum of the ship filled the room. Atlas finally spoke. That message will echo through every system, Admiral. Marcus looked out at the stars. Good. It's time they remembered who we are. The shadows stir. In the dark corners of the galaxy, others were listening. On a hidden moon, the remnants of the dark swarm gathered, broken, burning, but alive. Their leader, the creature known only as the Brood Lord, watched the transmission replay on a cracked screen. Humans, it hissed. So the legends were true. Its many eyes glowed red with rage. They took everything from us once. Now we will take it back. Around it, thousands of smaller creatures howled in unison. The swarm would rebuild, stronger, faster, angrier. And this time they would not strike a colony. They would strike Earth itself. The Council's decision. Back in the shining halls of the Galactic Council, the Chancellor watched the same message. When it ended, he turned to his advisors. Prepare a delegation, he said coldly. We will contact the humans, before this turns into another war. A younger diplomat spoke nervously. And if they refuse Council authority? The Chancellor's silver tendrils coiled like serpents. Then the galaxy will burn again. The calm before the storm. Back on Astra, peace slowly returned. Human soldiers packed up their camps. Astra families waved goodbye, glowing brightly in gratitude. Children handed the soldiers small crystals as gifts, tokens of light from their world. Elder Blue Song met Marcus one last time before the fleet's departure. You have given us more than victory, Admiral, Blue Song said. You gave us courage. Marcus smiled. Keep it safe, Elder. You'll need it. Blue Song hesitated. And you? What will you do now? Marcus looked to the horizon, where his ships waited, engines glowing. We'll go home, and prepare. The galaxy is watching now. And not everyone watching means well. Blue Song's light dimmed slightly. Then this piece is only the beginning. Marcus nodded. The beginning, and maybe the warning. They shook hands once more, two beings from worlds so different, yet bound by something ancient, survival and honor. Departure. As dawn rose over Astra's mountains, the human fleet lifted from the surface, engines blazing gold and white. The sound was like thunder rolling across the skies, the same thunder that had once brought death, now bringing hope. Children waved from the domes. Adults stood silently, watching the impossible ships rise into the heavens. In the command seat of the thunder, Admiral Marcus gave his final order. The stars around Earth shimmered with peace, or what looked like peace. From orbit, the blue planet was beautiful, calm oceans, white clouds, and green continents that once fought endless wars. But beneath that calm, humanity was changing again. They had gone to war once more, not with each other but with fear itself. The Astra rescue had awakened something that could never sleep again, the return of the Deathworlders. Return to Earth. The thunder broke through the edge of Sol system, escorted by the remaining Earth fleet vessels. They glided past the moons of Jupiter, the rings of Saturn, and finally slowed as the blue glow of Earth filled the viewport. Admiral Marcus stood on the bridge, silent as his homeworld came into view. It had been years since he'd seen it like this, peaceful, radiant, unbroken. Lieutenant Reed stood beside him, smiling softly. It's still beautiful, she said. Marcus nodded. It's home. It always will be. Atlas, the ship's AI, appeared as a flicker of blue light beside them. Admiral, Earth Command requests immediate debriefing. The Council transmission has reached every major power. Marcus's expression hardened. Then it begins. The meeting at Earth Command. The command chamber beneath the Atlantic Ocean buzzed with tension. Generals, admirals, scientists, all gathered around a vast holographic table glowing with star maps and threat readings. When Marcus entered, the room fell silent. He wore no medals, no insignia, only the quiet authority of a man who had already walked through fire. General Amina Chen, head of Earth Defense, stepped forward. Welcome home, Admiral. You've caused quite a storm. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Good or bad? Chen smiled faintly. Both. She tapped a control on the table and the hologram shifted, showing hundreds of messages flashing from across the galaxy. Half the council worlds are calling for sanctions, she said. The other half are asking for alliances. You've divided the galaxy, Marcus. Marcus folded his arms. I didn't divide it. The galaxy did that itself when it decided who was worth saving. A young officer spoke up nervously. Sir, the Galactic Council has sent envoys. They'll arrive in 20 hours. Marcus glanced at the hologram of the Council's insignia, a swirling ring of stars. So they want to talk. Chin crossed her arms. No. They want to control the narrative before the galaxy sides with you. Marcus gave a dry laugh. Then let's give them something they can't control. The Council arrives. 20 hours later, the skies above Earth burned bright with light as the Galactic Council delegation ship descended through the clouds. It was massive, shaped like a silver teardrop humming with alien power. Every news channel, every communication beacon across the system, streamed the arrival live. Inside Earth Command, the humans waited, calm, watchful, unarmed but alert. Admiral Marcus stood at the center of the hall, surrounded by generals and officers. The Council envoy emerged, tall, silver-skinned, and expressionless. His voice echoed through the chamber, smooth and cold. Admiral Marcus, humanity has violated Council law. You entered restricted space, destroyed Council property, and spread unauthorized communication across the galactic network. Marcus didn't flinch. Council property? You mean the Astra colony, the one your fleets ignored? A ripple of whispers ran through the room. The envoy's eyes narrowed. Your interference risks destabilizing centuries of peace. Marcus took a slow step forward. Peace built on silence is not peace. It's fear. And fear doesn't last. The envoy's voice sharpened. You think your fleet can protect you from the galaxy? Marcus met his gaze without blinking. I don't need to protect humanity from the galaxy. I need to protect the galaxy from what's coming. The room went silent. Even the envoy seemed unsure how to respond. What do you mean? He asked finally. Marcus turned to the holographic display. He activated a projection, the wreckage scans from Astra. The room darkened, filled with ghostly images of burning ships and alien metal. The dark swarm isn't gone, Marcus said quietly. We destroyed one fleet. But our long-range sensors show activity in the outer sectors. Massive, organized movement. The envoy frowned. Impossible. The swarm was defeated centuries ago. So were we, Marcus replied. And yet here we are. The swarms return. Far beyond the edge of known space, deep in a region once marked unreachable, the dark swarm rebuilt. Inside a colossal hive ship carved from asteroids, the brood lord sat upon a throne of bone and steel. Around it, thousands of smaller creatures worked endlessly, growing, merging, evolving. The brood lord's voice hissed through the darkness. The humans burn our fleets, but they cannot burn the void. The void is ours. A new creature, taller, stronger, emerged from a cocoon of black matter. Its armor gleamed like obsidian, pulsing with red veins of power. We will feed on their fear, the brood lord whispered. And when their blue world burns, the stars will remember who rules the dark. The swarm roared, their screams echoing across space. Back on Earth. In Earth Command, scientists analyzed the wreckage from Astra. Energy readings, weapon fragments, biological residue, all pointed to one terrifying truth. The swarm had evolved. Dr. Kaito Ren, chief xenobiologist, stood before the generals. They've adapted faster than anything we've seen. The Astra battle was only a test. Lieutenant Reed frowned. A test for what? Ren's voice lowered. To study us. To see how humans fight. A cold silence filled the room. Admiral Marcus leaned forward. Then they're coming here. Ren nodded. Sooner than we think. An uneasy alliance. The council envoy remained on Earth longer than expected. Despite his cold words, he couldn't ignore the fear growing across the galaxy. Other species, the gentle Vorans, the warrior Tkal, the crystalline Astra, began sending messages of their own. We want to help, one message read. If humanity stands against the darkness, we will stand with you. Marcus watched each transmission in silence. The same beings who once called his people monsters now asked for their protection. Lieutenant Reed smiled faintly. Looks like the galaxy is changing its mind. Marcus nodded slowly. No. It's just remembering what courage looks like. The choice. That night, Marcus stood alone in the observation dome, Earth glowing below. He thought of Astra's crystal children, of the humans who never came home, and of the message he had sent that now echoed through every corner of space. Atlas appeared beside him. "Admiral, the Council demands humanity submit to oversight. They say only a united command can defeat the swarm." Marcus looked out the window. "Oversight means obedience. And obedience means silence. We didn't survive hell to kneel." Atlas tilted its holographic head. "If you refuse, war may come." Marcus's jaw tightened. "War is already coming. The only question is whether we face it as slaves, or as Deathworlders." The shadows deepen. In the cold vacuum beyond Pluto's orbit, a hidden human outpost detected a signal, faint but growing stronger. The operator frowned as his console flickered. "Unidentified object approaching, size increasing, wait." The transmission cut off. Minutes later, the entire station went dark. In the quiet space beyond Neptune, the sensors of the outer defense grid flickered. A single, faint echo appeared, then another. And then, thousands. No one spoke in the control room. Every operator just stared as the screen filled with red blips. Each one was a ship. Each one was coming toward Earth. The dark swarm had arrived. The first signs. Admiral Marcus stood on the bridge of the Thunder, orbiting above Mars. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold steel. He had been waiting for this moment since Astra. Lieutenant Reed rushed to his side. "Admiral. Long-range sensors confirm, swarm fleet entering Sol system. Over 200 ships." The crew went silent. Marcus nodded slowly. "So, they finally found us." Atlas, the ship's AI, appeared in blue light beside him. Enemy fleet composition: heavy carriers, assault drones, biological hive ships. Their lead vessel matches the Broodlord signal. Marcus's jaw tightened. The same creature that commanded Astra? Atlas flickered once. Confirmed. He turned to his officers. "Signal every ship in the fleet. Activate the Sol defense protocol. Every outpost, every moon base, every orbital cannon, full alert." The room came alive with motion. Officers sprinted to their stations, lights flashing red. The siege of Sol had begun. Across the solar system. From Mercury to Pluto, the call echoed. Earth's defense grid powered up, thousands of satellites unfolding like metallic flowers. Mars bases locked down their domes, preparing their cannons. Luna's defense towers lit the dark side of the moon like fire. And far beyond, human colonies and allied ships answered the call. From Astra came crystal warships, their hulls glowing with refracted starlight. From the warrior world of Tkal came armored dreadnoughts, each one carved with the marks of 100 battles. Even small trade ships joined in, armed with whatever they could carry. The galaxy had come to help defend humanity, the species they once feared. The enemy arrives. In the cold shadow of Neptune, the dark swarm emerged. A sea of living metal, black as night, crawling with red veins of energy. Each ship pulsed like a beating heart. At the center of them all, towering above the rest, was the Broodlord ship, a massive organism wrapped in armor and spines. Its voice echoed through the minds of every swarm creature. "The Deathworlders think they are safe behind their light. We will show them that light burns brightest, before it dies." Thousands of smaller ships screeched to life, pouring forward like a storm. The battle begins. The first wave hit near Saturn. Human destroyers met them head-on, missiles streaking through space like comets. The swarm's drones burst apart, but more replaced them instantly. "They just keep coming," shouted one pilot. From the Thunder, Marcus watched the chaos unfold on the main display. "Maintain formation. Don't chase. Let them come to us." The fleet obeyed. When the swarm ships reached the human line, space lit up, beams, explosions, plasma, and fire. Atlas's voice cut through the noise. "Enemy losses rising. But our front line is weakening." Marcus pointed toward the inner planets. "Pull them in closer. We fight near Mars. Earth must stay untouched." The defense of Mars. The battle raged for hours. Human and alien allies fought side by side, forming a living shield between Earth and the darkness. Mars' surface burned red as orbital cannons fired upward, blasting swarm carriers out of the sky. Astra ships flew in formation with human destroyers, their crystal beams cutting through the black tide. Tall warriors screamed their war chants as their massive ships rammed into swarm vessels, sacrificing themselves to buy time. Lieutenant Reed turned to Marcus, her voice tense. "Admiral, our losses are mounting. The swarm is pushing through." Marcus looked at the battle map, a red wave crawling closer to Earth. "Then we hit them harder." He opened a channel. "To every ship in Sol defense, This is Admiral Marcus. We are the line between life and extinction. Hold your ground. Hold the line. The reply came from hundreds of voices, human, Astra, Tkal, and others. Holding Admiral. We fight with you. The Broodlords move. In the depths of the enemy fleet, the Broodlord watched. They fight like beasts, it hissed. But beasts still die. It extended one massive clawed hand, and a pulse of black energy spread from its ship. Across the battlefield, swarm drones transformed, growing spikes, claws, wings. They began tearing through ships faster than before. On the Thunder, alarms blared. Admiral. Enemy bioweapons mutating, adapting to our weapons. Marcus clenched his fists. Then we changed the rules. He turned to Atlas. Initiate Project Helios. The AI hesitated. That weapon is unstable, Admiral. Marcus stared at the glowing red swarm closing in. So is war. Project Helios. Deep within the Thunder's core, massive reactors came online, glowing white-hot. Helios was a prototype, a weapon designed to unleash the power of a newborn star. It could destroy the swarm, or take the Thunder with it. Marcus keyed his command code. All ships clear a path. We're lighting the sun. The Thunder's hull glowed brighter and brighter until it was painful to look at. Swarm ships swarmed toward it, drawn to the energy.